Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Ask a Lawyer Live. I'm Dave Brannen, a lawyer at Resolute Employment and Disability Lawyers. Sound a little weird. I got my headphones in here today, so I'm hearing myself speak in my own ears, so I got to get used to that. Welcome all. Today we're going to be answering your questions on anything to do with employment and disability law. This is most days of the week I do a little presentation. I don't have any presentations planned for today, so it will be completely open to answer questions. If you can help me out by just putting your questions in the comments. Let me just set up my thing here. So just put your questions in the comments, put a little Q in front of it, helps me know if that is actually a question or if you're just making a comment to other people. Also, if you're a brave soul, you can call in and we will see if this works. I have not tested this out enough to see that it's going to work, but if you phone this number, this comes to my law firm, it should come right to my desk phone here, and I would be able to bring you live on the call. No one will be able to see you because it's just a phone call, but they'd be able to hear you. So if you wanted to call in and ask questions and you and I can go back and forth, that's available as well. But you don't have to do that. If you just want to post your question in the chat, that's actually fine as well. Now, as you know, this is a weekly show. I do it every day, usually at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow we have a different time. We'll be going at 2 p.m. I think it's, sorry. Yeah, 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow is a special time. It'll be 2 p.m. Atlantic time, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be bringing on Lisette LeBlanc, who is a lawyer at our law firm, to talk about mediations. I've already posted I've posted it on YouTube, so you can go read the description to see what would be involved, what we're going to talk about. But mostly it's to do with everything you'd want to know about mediations if you're in a long-term disability claim and you and your lawyer are going to a mediation or you're thinking of a mediation, what's involved with those mediations. Again, today is just open. You can ask anything you like, and I'm happy to jump into questions once people have them. In the meantime, though, I do have a few things I can go over. So I'm still researching. There's been a question that people asked on other sessions wanting to know, is long-term disability, more importantly, is non-taxable long-term disability money going to be included in your income when determining the Canada Disability Benefit? That's still something I'm looking into, so I don't have a definitive answer on that yet. So I'll continue to look into that, and once I get an answer, I'll announce it on the show here. The other thing is I just got off the phone just before this call with a lawyer in Ontario she's in the process of, in the process of retiring. It's always fun to talk to lawyers at different stages of their careers. I'm kind of in the middle, maybe past the middle of my career. Excuse me. And we have a lawyer who, well, not a lawyer yet, but we have a law student who is going to be doing her apprenticeship with us starting in a couple of months. So it's fun to see lawyers at different stages of their careers. But I had a great talk with her. Karen is her name. She's someone who's in the process of retiring. We were just chatting about life and we were talking some questions we had on cases. And I did invite her. She's a very unique person. So I wanted to invite her on to be a guest on the show. I don't know if it'll be next Friday, but it'll be one of the Friday guest appearances we have coming up. Karen's unique in that she is a lawyer who's worked for, I think she said 40 years, but I could be wrong on that. She's been a lawyer for a long time, but she's also a mother of a special needs child. And she is in the process of finishing up a book on how to be a parent of a special needs child and how to advocate for yourself in all the different facets, from school to healthcare. Oh, here we go. We've got a call coming in. I'm going to try this. Let's see if this works. Hello, this is David. Uh-oh.
Got a call coming in.
Darn. I'm not hearing you.
David. Hi, my name is
Can you type in the chat
Hello?
if you can hear me? I'm going to try to figure out what the problem is.
Hello? Hello?
Let me see here.
Hello?
Yeah, I see you're talking. Why isn't it coming through?
Oh. Hello?
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 What is the problem? Oh, I apologize for that. Our first call came through and it did not work. Yikes. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try something different here. We're going to try something. We got another caller coming through. We're going to do this. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm trying to fix something on my screen here. All right. That person wants to try calling back again, and I apologize that you're the guinea pig here, but try calling back again, and we're going to see if this will work. I think it might work this time, if you're brave enough to call back. All right. Can you hear me now? Oh, I think I hear you. Hello? No. I actually could hear them that time. So, I did hear them. I don't know if they couldn't hear me that time. Let's see here. Maybe let me check. Hello there, it's David Brannen.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello?
Okay, sorry, you can't hear me for some reason.
Hello? Can't hear anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's a dud. What am I going to do in here? So what I'm going to say is, yeah, I'm going to post it in the chat here. Sorry, I could hear you. All right. I'm just posting it in the chat there. I apologize, folks. I'm going to take the call in off, and we're just going to have to go with the old-fashioned post your questions. And I'm going to work on this again this weekend to try to get it solved, how this is going to work. It's not easy because you have to put I don't know if people know much about how this works, but you have to put a switcher on your computer that will then put all of the voice channels through the same thing. And I thought I had it set up properly to work, but looks like I need to work out a few more bugs. So let's have a look here. I do apologize for the person that called in. Yeah. So let's see here. And I don't know if it was you, Joey, that was trying to call in. I apologize if it was. It says here that you're off on WCB Alberta. I'm thinking going on long term. WCB is 90% of my overall income. My employer's LTD is 70% of my salary. If I go on long term, will I stay on WCB? So what you need to do in this type of situation here, let me look into the camera here. So Joey, what you want to do in this situation, and I'm going to take these headphones off because I'm not actually going to do in a situation like this, is keep applying for both. Always, you have to apply for both. And I can explain a little bit why that is. But what will happen is if you can't receive both of the money, but you will, as long as you're getting workers' comp, the LTD will be technically approved, but they won't have to pay you. But it will still be a technically approved claim. So that, for instance, if you're, for whatever reason, workers' comp cuts you off at some point, the long-term disability would, as long as it's still an approved claim, they would have to start paying you. They'd have to start up paying you again. And I have had that happen with clients. So you really do want to try to keep the long-term disability claim approved and open, even though they don't have to send you any money, because the payments are being offset by the WCB. So if you go on long-term, will you stay on WCB? Yeah, like you can stay on both, and WCB is the primary payer. So you would continue to get the workers' comp benefit. And as long as you work to get the approval of the long-term disability, they just might not have to pay you if the workers' comp benefit is more than the long-term disability benefit, which it usually is. Some people in this situation say, well, why even bother with LTD, or why bother with workers' comp? One thing is that some of the long-term disability policies require you to apply and try to get workers' comp. And if you don't, they're able to deduct what you would have got from workers' comp, even if you're not receiving it. So you really have to do it. It's actually listed as one of the mistakes in my new book that I wrote. I forget what mistake it is, but one of the mistakes is not applying for workers' comp while you have a long-term disability claim if you have a workplace injury. So that's what I would suggest for you, is definitely try to keep both claims going. There's a follow-up here. If I go from WCB to my Works LTD, it will be a massive decrease in wage loss. Yeah. So there would never be a situation where you would go one or the other. Like, as long as you are qualified for workers' comp, you would continue to get that, and your Works LTD just would not have to pay you. But like, I'm recommending you still apply for the Work LTD. They will assess your claim and approve you or disapprove you. And if you get approved, they just won't have to pay you anything. It won't stop your workers' comp payments. And what would happen is the employer's payments from the Work LTD just would not have to be paid. But it's there as a backup in case workers' comp ever cuts you off. Because sometimes there are worlds where you can qualify for disability under the Work LTD and not workers' comp. Workers' comp is very tied to the workplace injury, but sometimes there might be other things that are not the work injury that are also contributing to your disability. So even if the work injury were to get better to some extent, you could still be disabled by these other things. For workers' comp's point of view, they don't care about the other things. They're only concerned about the disability from the work injury. So they could cut you off and you could be validly allowed to keep your other one. Yeah. So Joey, just let me know in the chat if that was you trying to call in. I apologize for that. I thought I had it set up and working, but it is definitely not working. So much for the call-in show today. I'm going to test it out again this weekend with my wife and daughter, and hopefully we'll have this thing working for next week. All right. Anybody have any other questions? That was a good one. What I was saying as we're waiting here. So I was talking with Karen, and she is a lawyer who's a parent with a child with autism, and she's had to advocate her whole career basically, and said what a struggle it is. So she's written a book to try to help parents navigate all aspects of advocating for your child with special needs. And I really, she's agreed to come on the program. So we'll bring her on one of these Fridays. If people want to let me know questions you'd like me to ask her, or you can bring your questions because there'll be a Q&A as well. But basically what I was going to focus on is get her to talk about, just give an overview of the kind of things that parents need to be thinking about when they have a special needs child, things that I know nothing about. Like, she knows all about, she's had to put trusts in place for her child. Like a trust is like a fund that would hold any money for them. Like, if she were to ever pass away or anything like that, there has to be money because the child is not competent or able to manage money. So there would be trust funds set up. I assume that she's probably done things like RDSPs and things like that, but I don't know that for a fact. She might be able to explain some of how that would work. She talked about having to advocate in the school system was a big area, and probably within housing, helping your child get ODSP benefits or other type of things like the disability tax credit would be a pretty big one. Those were things that you have to think about. All right. Okay. So it wasn't Joey, but he's thanking me for his response to his question. So who's the poor soul that tried to call in? Put your question in the chat here, and I do apologize that you became the guinea pig on this, testing this out. I really thought I had it working. I really did, but I got to go back to the drawing board. So here's a general question. Let's have a look at this. Let me bring this one up. Disability tax credit. If one was denied, what is the easiest way to proceed with this without reapplying? Yes. So if you're denied with the disability tax credit, you want to file an objection with with Revenue Canada. Normally, the letter that you get denying your initial application for the disability tax credit, down at the bottom, it will tell you the next step for the appeal. So what you would want to do is put in for that appeal, and it's called an objection. I'm going to see if I can bring up the website here. Okay, let me bring it up here. And I'll try to share my screen. Here we go. Where is it? Yeah, I found it here. So I'm going to try to share my screen. For those of you who don't know, I'm new to this streaming like this. So I used to do these webinars. I've done them for about 2 years, but I was doing them in Zoom, which I was very familiar with. Now I'm using a different software. So I do apologize if sometimes I look like I don't know what I'm doing, because I actually don't. I'm still learning. So I'm going to try to share my screen, and let's find the right page right there. Share, go back, and hey, there it is. So let's go through this. So where I'm at here, this is disability tax credit. I clicked on the part that talks about, oh no, let me try something else here. Hold on. I'm going to open another window. Hopefully this will work. Yeah, there we go. All right, we're figuring this out. So what you want to do here for this question is there the process? So the appeal process is explained right here. If your application is denied, then you would file your notice of determination. Will explain why right here. So what you would do, there's 2 levels to it. So disagreeing with this decision, they give you some different options here. You can call to discuss it. That's fine, but I wouldn't recommend that. You might as well just start the appeal. They're just going to tell you need to appeal. The first thing you can do is you can request a review of the application and submit more information. So that's one way to go about it. And you can do it by mail or by submitting it into your My Service Canada account. Do that if you've got new information that's came in that this person already doesn't have. So once you do the application, they will have the information. If you have new information they don't already have, you could request a review by the same person by submitting new stuff. But if there's no new stuff to submit, then you would file an objection. And I'm just going to click on this. So you have to file it within 90 days. And I'll click on this and hopefully we're going to this page. So this tells you how to go through an objection. Dealing with the disability tax credit is like you're dealing with Revenue Canada. So it's the same as any other kind of tax appeal. And if this objection gets denied, your next step is to go to the tax court, believe it or not. So it's not Service Canada like with other things, but this is where you'd go through doing your objection. And there is an objection form, I'm pretty sure. How to file an objection, goes through it right here. So you can file it online through your account. And there's probably a paper, right here. File an objection by fax or mail right here. I don't know if that will show us anything if we open it up. No, it's a download. So you can download the objection form there, but basically you're going to tell them, let's see, maybe I can download it. Let's see here. Yep. See if I can find it. There it is. So I'm going to share that now. I'll show you what an objection form looks like. Stop sharing. This is an objection form. It's just uploading. Just give it a second. There it is. So here's the objection form. You can see that you just have to put your name in there. Down below here, I got to make my screen bigger. You can see down here, it says, please provide the following information. It's asking for the date of notice. So that's the date you got the notice. That's the date you got your notice of determination. That's the decision. So the date you got the letter telling you your claim was denied, that's the date you would put in there, the date of that notice. And then you put in the tax year, that kind of thing. Please state the issues, reasons, and relevant facts for your objection. So you just need to explain why. Usually here, you're going to want to put in like why you think they are incorrect. In the letter, they'll give their reasons. So maybe you can give them more information about why it is they're incorrect. Now, one of the problems is that maybe they denied it because your doctor, the way the application form is filled out is they give the doctor like a binary choice to check, yes, this person has a marked restriction, or no, they don't. And if they check no, they don't, then you have no medical evidence. Your medical evidence is saying that you do not meet the criteria. So sometimes what you have to do is get the doctor to clarify. If the doctor checked the box saying you are not, that you don't have a restriction, then you have to go back to the doctor and try to get that fixed, is often where that can go. But that might be what you would put in here, that the doctor is, you're going to get new medical information. The doctor is going to provide it. But the key is to get this filed within 90 days. Then you can tell them that you're going to send more information, and then you can send in that extra information to them. All right. That was a very good question. So you definitely don't want to reapply. You want to go through this process of you can start with the objection, or sorry, start with the, what was the wording of it? It's not an objection. It's called a, you ask them to review it, basically. Let me see what the wording of it is. I don't know why I'm not being able to think of it off the top of my head here. So you've got the objection and you have a review. Yeah. So you can ask them to just, the first step is you can ask for a review if you have something new to give them. If you don't have something new to give them, you just file the objection form. The objection form has to be done in 90 days. And then you definitely are going to want to put in new information along with the objection. So often that means, like, take the letter that you got back from them to your doctor and see if your doctor can read the letter and write something in response to try to clarify things. And then give that doctor's letter to them. That's probably the best thing to do. It's no good just to go to your doctor and said, yeah, they denied it. Can you write something else? Like, the doctor will have no clue, like, why did they deny it? Like, what information is needed? If you take the rejection letter in, it's called the decision letter. Then take that in, the notice letter, take that in and give that to the doctor as something that they can review. All right, here's another question. This person says they're on WCB now. They cut off the benefit and are telling me now I can apply for disability, and I don't know which kind of disability I'd apply for. Probably what they're referring to is, if workers' comp cut you off, they're probably telling you to apply for, like, provincial disability. So, like, if you're in Ontario, it would be ODSP. If you're in Alberta, it would be AISH. If you're in BC, it would be PWD. Other provinces, it's called disability support or social services. That is probably what they're referring to. Those kind of benefits are very limited. And they're limited because if you have a household income above certain thresholds of income, you can't even qualify. All right. Okay, this is Mary back again. So if a person did not file an objection in the 90 days, what then? Okay, yeah. So if you don't file the objection within the 90 days, there is a short window of time for a few months where you can write and ask them to grant an extension of time to appeal and give reasons of why you didn't meet the 90 days. They will look at it and decide whether to allow that or not, depending on what your reasons are. And if not, then you would have to apply again. Okay. Now you can apply again, but make sure the next time you do it, you want to be ready. Don't apply again until you have it all worked out, that if it gets denied, I'm going to move on to the next step really quickly. Because if you start filing applications and then just keep refiling and refiling, at a certain point, they're allowed to just reject anymore, just because they say it's like an abuse of the process. I'm not saying that Mary is going to do that. I'm just saying that next time if you have to reapply, if they don't give you an extension of time, then you would really want to plan it out so that if you get the denial next time, you can file that objection form like within a few days and just keep it alive. All right. Let's see, we'll wait for some more questions. I got some things here to talk about too. If there's nobody with questions, let's have a look. All right. Hello, David speaking.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello? It's Steve trying to call back, but unfortunately I can't hear a thing. I had a question that I wanted to ask, but it's possible you can hear me, but I can't hear
Yeah.
anything on my end.
Yeah, I can hear you, Steve. I know you can't hear me. I'm going to put it in the chat here. Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah. Hello? No, nothing.
Yeah, I can hear Steve. Oh, Steve, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I'm hearing you and you're not hearing me. That's what I don't understand of why that is. That's what I don't understand. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, Steve. You're coming through loud and clear, but my audio is not going to you. And I'm not sure. Did people on the stream hear Steve? I don't know if Steve was transmitting onto the stream itself. That's something, if you could hear Steve, I'd like to know, because it's very hard to test this because it's hard to go live. I'm going to have to figure out a way to go live with a show without it being actually live. Okay, so everybody heard Steve. It's just Steve wasn't hearing me. So that's something. Okay, I'm going to write that down. So, okay, so caller couldn't hear me, but myself and stream could hear him. That tells me we're not far off from making this work. So yeah, Steve, sorry about that. Yeah, you could hear me and Steve. Okay, so there's something. What is it? I'll go through this one more time and try to figure out. And it did show Steve's sound coming in. Oh, I know what the problem is. I know what the problem is. I bet you I know what the problem is. Steve, if you're still listening, give me a second here. I think I've solved it. I think I know the problem. Yeah, I know the problem. Boom. I know the problem, sir. So, Steve, if you are willing to give it one more try, I think it's going to work. I'm going to put my headphones on in case Steve's watching and can call back. You're calling in on my Zoom phone, and I had my Zoom phone set to my headset and not to this mic. So I think, Steve, if you call back, it's going to work. Let me look one more time here just to be sure. So we got audio. Yeah. There we go. Steve.
Hey, how's it going?
You hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh,
Thank
dude,
you.
You don't know how happy I am that we have solved this, and you're a good enough sport to keep calling back after being like, everyone can hear you. We could all hear you, and
you could hear. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't hear. I couldn't hear it, but I was watching live, so I was getting the sound from my other device, but I couldn't hear anything over the phone, so it was.
Plus, there's a delay too, so it would have been a mess. No, I figured it out. All I had to do was I've got my streaming software open and I got my Zoom phone. You're calling on my Zoom phone app. So I just had to go to the Zoom phone and go to the settings and put microphone because it was waiting for me to talk through this headset because that's usually what I use. So what can I help you with?
Well, I just had a question. It's a little bit of a complex one, but I figured I've been watching, your videos way back. I don't know if it was 8 years ago. You made, submitting the winning application.
Yes.
So I've been watching your stuff. You've been very helpful in my journey with this. These unfortunate circumstances.
That is, the winning application was in this book here, and I did videos on it. But this was back. When was this published? This was back in 2015 or so. Yeah, long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. So I certainly appreciate all the, support you've given to the people. Sometimes you don't realize how many people you've helped,
Yeah.
uh, even with some of these really old videos. So thank
Yep.
you for that. But in terms of my question, so my question is, so I'm currently approved for LTD beyond the 2-year mark.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, in terms of, uh, I'm with the union,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm just wondering, in terms of my job, now that I'm off, I'm just wondering what will happen to my position. And I'm still in a lot of treatment, trying to get better. But I'm just wondering what happens to my employment. I heard from my union rep that after the 5-year mark of being on LTD, they tend to want to, say that, hey, it's been 5 years, you can't return.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not better by that 5-year mark, what happens to my employment? Am I entitled, like, if I continue to be approved for LTD, do I receive like a severance pay from my employer, or like how does that work? I don't understand that part.
Okay, this is a great question. So you're a special situation because you're in a union. Okay.
Okay.
So that makes it a very special situation. Um, so what I would say is the normal rules won't apply to you. You have a special set of rules that are set out in your collective agreement. Now,
Okay.
the fact that your union rep is mentioning something about 5 years, I would be willing to bet that there's something in the collective agreement that after 5 years, they might be able to end employment based on something called innocent absenteeism. But that is something you would definitely want to check with your union rep. So the way it works with collective agreements is uh, it just depends on how the wording is. So there's a couple options. One option is that the collective agreement allows the employer to terminate employees who are on a long-term disability who have no chance of really coming back because of the disability. They would call that like an innocent absenteeism. In outside of a union situation, it would be called frustration of contract. So in that
Mm-hmm.
situation, unless you're in Ontario, then you wouldn't necessarily be entitled. And actually, even in Ontario, you wouldn't be entitled. So you might not be entitled to anything upon termination unless it is set out
Mm-hmm.
in your collective agreement itself. So your collective agreement will say what happens if employees are let go for innocent absenteeism. And it might say that
Mm-hmm.
they have to pay out a certain severance. It might say that no severance is paid. So that is what it will boil down to. Some collective agreements allow employees to stay employed for as long as, they don't, it can be indefinite kind of thing. But it may be that your collective agreement does have a time where the employer is allowed to terminate the employment. So,
Okay. So that's
yeah,
helpful. I definitely need to
yeah,
check out the collective agreement.
yeah.
And
And you may or may not be
also,
entitled to severance. It'll depend on what the
and
collective agreement
mhm.
says. Yeah.
So even if in some cases, you're saying, even if I were to be, continue to be approved for LTD and I'm terminated from my employer, I'm still potentially eligible for severance in some cases. Is that correct?
Yeah, if the collective agreement says it. So because you're in you have your own unique set of rules. If you don't have a collective agreement, then we know what the law is because there's a general law that applies to everybody. But collective
Mm-hmm.
agreements take you outside of the normal legal system, and all the rules are kind of set out in your collective agreement. So your collective agreement will say, and some of them are quite generous, of what happens to an employee who is dismissed for innocent absenteeism based on a disability, or it might say employees on long-term sick leave. Now, an employer to invoke something like that, they would need evidence, even within the context of a like you with a union agreement. They still probably would need evidence that you are not going to be capable of returning to work because of your disability. Like if you're showing improvement, or your doctor is saying, look, like it's been 4 years, but he's still making improvements. His goal is still to get back to work. There may be grounds for them to push it out further if there's still evidence that
Okay.
you might get back. But if the evidence is that
Mm-hmm.
unlikely that you're going to be able to get back, or maybe you'd be able to turn to work, but not at this job, it would have to be some other job. that then it would depend on what the union's process is, if they would have to take you back into another position or if the employer could let you go.
Okay. All right. Well, that's very helpful. I appreciate that. And the other part of that, while I've been approved for the LTD, unfortunately I was denied for CPP, and I'm going through the appeals process currently. Is there any other tips? I mean, before I get to this part of the question, I saw in another one of your videos that you recommended that it's important to let your employer know, that, hey, I'm trying to get better. I'm in treatment, trying to get better, and my hope is to return. And that, that makes it harder for them to terminate you, I guess, because you're showing them that you have an intention. That's correct, right?
It is correct. So in order for employers to terminate you, they have to, no, just a second. I'm going to try to fix this up here. So in order for employers to terminate you, for innocent absenteeism or frustration of contract, they have to show that it is a situation where you are never going to be able to work again because you have a permanent disability and it's going to be indefinite. If you're giving your employer information that goes against that, like saying it's not necessarily permanent, there might be some improvements, it will go against your long-term disability claim to say those kinds of things, but it will make it harder for the employer to terminate you. But again, like once you've been on long-term disability for more than 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, certainly by 5 years, that is long enough that most people, if they're going to be able to get back to work, it's going to happen within 5 years. The percentage of people that get back to work after 5 years is very low. Doesn't mean it can't happen. But so employers, it's easier for them when you've been off that long to have evidence to show that you're not likely to be able to come back.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. And then just the other part of that question, unfortunately was denied CPP despite being approved LTD in the appeals right now.
Yeah.
Is there any tips or any advice? I mean, I've utilized a lot of stuff that you've said, but I don't know. It seems like the first time around was very challenging.
Yeah. So you're in the middle of appealing a CPP. Would your insurance, usually the insurance companies will hire an advocate to work with you. Is that something they've offered?
No, not yet. They haven't offered that yet.
Yeah.
Despite I told them that I applied and I got denied and appealing the decision.
Yeah.
But they haven't offered anything like that.
You should reach out and just say, is it possible that you could help me with an advocate? A lot of the insurers, you don't have, and don't name your insurer on here just because we're on the air, but you should reach out to them. What I would suggest, there is a group, they're called the Disability Claims Advocacy Clinic, DCAC, Disability Claims Advocacy Clinic. If you just Google that, they are a group that works nationally, and they do a lot of work with insurance companies, representing insurance company. So basically the insurance companies hire this group to represent people like you who are doing disability claims. And so what you could do is two ways. You could reach out to your insurer and see if that works. If that doesn't work, try reaching out to the Disability Claims Advocacy Clinic, and they may have contacts with your insurer, and they could contact them to see if it's a case that the insurer would pay them to do it. That's the way to go, because you wouldn't be worth your while to try to pay a lawyer your own self to do this, because any money that you get out of the CPP is just going to go straight to the insurer. So, but the insurer will pay groups like the Disability Claims Advocacy Clinic to help you, and they're good. I would highly recommend them.
DCA.
Yep, DCAC. So not ACDC, but the opposite. So DCAC. Yeah, the opposite of ACDC. There you go. So DCAC, Disability Claims Advocacy Clinic. And you can tell them that I referred you there. You can try reaching out to them first and just tell them, like, I suggested you contact them because you do have an insurer. They can take your insurer details confidentially, and then they may tell you, oh, you know what, that insurer doesn't do this or something, or they might be able to say they can reach out to the insurer or tell you where to go to the insurer to try to get, because really your chances of being approved are going to go way up if you've got someone helping you that kind of knows the system for CPP.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure.
All right. Well, that's it for me. Thanks.
Dude, you're going to go down in history, and I appreciate that you've been reading my stuff so long, but you're going to go down in history as the first person to ever call in to my weekly call-in live show, and it went down in a big failure because it didn't work. Just because I didn't have the mic turned on. There you go, right? That's how it almost failed. But I do appreciate your call. Breaking the ice here, because people are nervous to be the first person to call in. But this is exactly how people should do it. Call in. Don't give out a lot of details, like just keep it general. And this is good education for other people, because I'm sure some of the things we've talked about are going to help other people that are watching now, or maybe will watch the restream later on.
For sure. Thank you.
Okay. Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Wow. It worked. It worked. I can't believe it. Thank the Lord, because I did not want to have to spend my weekend trying to figure this stuff out again. I'm still a small operation. I don't have a big team of people putting this all together. I'm literally doing it all myself, but that worked. It worked. Now, we had some questions come in the meantime. Let's see. I am in Alberta in Edmonton. The disability are telling me to apply for CPP. What's the difference between CPP and AISH? And who is going to apply for me? My family doctor or me, maybe? So, okay. So maybe they are referring for you to apply for CPP disability. If it is CPP disability, that is something you would have to apply for yourself. You could take advantage of the CPP disability application workbook, which I have written. We send that out to people for free if you contact us. But yeah, you would be expected to do it yourself. And the easiest way to apply for CPP disability now, here, I'll look at the camera. The easiest way to apply for CPP disability now is to do it online. And this workbook will help you kind of get your information all together. It gives you kind of questions and advice on how to fill out the different sections of the online and the paper application. And then you would submit the application online. If you get denied, then you can look into getting help either through, like, there are free services out there to help people with CPP disability appeals. We do it, but we do charge usually like a percentage if we win. But if you're in a case like the last caller and you have long-term disability benefits, sometimes the insurance company will pay for you to get an advocate. But that's the way you'd have to do it. Your doctor doesn't apply. When you file for CPP disability, you have to submit 1, an application form, and 2, a form from your doctor. Another call. Okay. All right, let's take this call. Hello, you're on live with Dave Brannen.
Hello, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's David.
Oh, hi, David. How are you doing?
I'm good. So what can we do for you?
Okay, I wanted to talk to David Brannen about something. I have a problem with the disability, with the WCP, and trying to tell me like I could apply a Canadian patient disability benefit application.
Yep, this is David, so you've got the right guy.
Okay. So
yep, go ahead.
So they said like I have a disability. I'm kind of hard to work. I have like chronic pain and all the symptoms, and it happened in at work for almost like 7 years actually, something like that. So I had operation and all of that, and then I was in the WCP, and now the WCP they cut the money. They only just give me like a monthly for $690. But they give me this form, which is Canadian Pension Plan Disability, to apply. So CPP. So what am I supposed to do? I don't know. That's why I was calling.
Okay, right on. Okay. So what you would need to do is, one thing you want to consider doing is appealing the WCB, the workers' compensation denial, and there are kind of free advocates in Alberta that could help you with that. Now, as far as the CPP disability, you just have to get the application form for CPP disability.
They give it to me actually.
Oh, okay. Okay. So there's a couple ways to do it then.
WCP give it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's two forms. There's a form that you fill out, and it's quite lengthy. It's probably like, 8 pages or so. There's a form you fill out, and there's a form you have to take to your doctor. So start by filling out the form that you have to fill out, and just do your best filling it out. Like I said, I don't know if you're still able to see me on the screen here, but we have this book that goes through. This book goes section by section through that application that you have and tells you, okay, here's what this box is for. Here's what they're looking for. Here's ideas of how you would answer this question. Like, this book will have all that in there. And we can send this book to you. So what I would suggest is, if you can go on our website, there's a chat there. Just say in the chat that you were on the webinar, and I said that I could send you the books on CPP disability, and then our people will send those out to you.
Okay, so when I apply the CPP, do I still get the benefit from WCP or no?
You can get both. So the way it works is you would get the entire, if you get approved for CPP disability, the most you can get for CPP disability is like $1,600 a month. So most people get a little bit less than that. If your WCB is more than that, then you might continue to get some of both. But WCB can subtract some of your CPP that you're getting. So it is possible to get both, but there might be some kind of deductions that go on.
Okay, this one can affect it for my retirement when I'm taking the CPP disability.
It will not hurt your retirement. In fact, it's the opposite. Getting CPP disability. I actually did a presentation on this last week. So if you go on our YouTube and find the live stream from last week on CPP disability, I actually showed, I might be able to still show it. I showed a diagram that actually laid this out. Oh, am I going to be able to have it? Let's see here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the opposite. You actually get more money from retirement if you go on CPP disability.
Oh, okay. So you are telling me like I have to take this one to my family doctor, so he can give it to me what I need to apply myself, and what is going to apply for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That's the wrong slide there.
That's good. And the books, how am I going to get the book, please?
So the book, go to my here.
I've been watching you all the time, but my English was not good. That's why.
No problem. You're doing fine. You're doing fine.
Yeah.
Go to our website at I'm going to type it in here. I'll put it. Just give me a second here. Actually, so what's the easiest way to get the book? The easiest way to get the book is are you on YouTube watching it on your computer?
I am watching right now through my phone.
Through your phone. Okay. Let's do it the easy way. So the easy way is, I'm going to give you, it's pretty sad I don't know the phone number to my own law firm here. I'm trying to think of the number that people call in. You're just going to call into the law firm, or you can use the chat, whatever you like, whatever's easier. But I'm going to give you, here's where you would, this is
I am already using the chat. My name is Saadia Hufane.
Okay.
If you look at it.
Yeah. So if you're using the chat, you can just tell them, there's a spot where you can kind of write in your message. Just say that you spoke to me on the YouTube show, and that you want the books for applying to CPP disability.
Okay. Do you have the phone number or anywhere I can call them, or I can talk to them? Or
yeah, I do.
Please
let me figure it out. Let me figure it out here. Let me see here. I know the main line. I think you can just call the main line. Let me see. You definitely don't call this number, because this will just take you right to me. You're going to want to call. Oh my, I'm drawing a blank here. This is horrific. Let me look it up here. My own law firm phone number. I never call it. So let me just look it up. Nobody making fun of me here. Come on, don't make fun of me.
No. Yes, David, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still looking for it. The problem is that, let me just think about it here. It is,
What I will do is like I will put it my phone number. Like you can email it or text me or whatever. I'll give you my.
here, I'm going to put it up here right now. It's 800. I'm going to post it up on the screen so you'll be able to see it.
Okay.
800
1-800.
80 dot. There. I'm going to post this up here. I believe that's the number that you're going to want.
Okay.
Okay. Is that right there?
I did not see them.
Yeah. So that's
Where?
that's the phone number that should take you
I
right to our
haven't.
phone. Yeah.
I haven't seen the number, David.
Okay, perfect. The other thing is I got your name here. Is that your name is spelled the same way as it's in the comments?
Yes, Sadia. Yes.
Okay. So I'll look you up. And if I can find you in our system, I'll just tell Jen she's in our support team just to reach out to you. So I'll look.
Shall I write it down my phone number so she can call me?
Well, you don't want to give that out on the phone here. So she will, yeah, probably the best thing to do is for you to call in. I wouldn't give your phone number out on this because this will be online.
So I will call back within a half an hour. That'll be okay.
Well, she's going to be done actually because Jen is on the East Coast. So she's going to be closing in like 10 minutes. So,
okay.
Yeah, you'll probably have to call in tomorrow, but I'll let her know. I'm going to be meeting with her tomorrow, so I can let her know to expect your call. And it's possible you'll call and go to like someone else.
Which number I will call? The same number I have now?
Yeah. No. The one that's on the screen right now.
The one is 437-293-5381.
No, that's a number only for this call-in show. So you'll just go right here.
Oh.
You're going to want to do the number. It's 1-800
1-800.
Yeah, 480
480
9050.
9050.
Yeah.
And the book, what's the book name? I will ask for that from the
you want to ask for Jen.
Jen.
Yeah.
And what kind of book I will ask?
Oh, the book. Ask for the CPP disability books. More than one. Yeah.
So this one I will take it to my family doctor, and my family doctor will do with the rest of it, right?
There's two forms. There's one that you fill out. There's one your family doctor fills out. The one your family doctor fills out says medical report on it.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much, David.
You're
if
welcome.
I need any other questions, I will see you and I will talk to you.
Yep. I'm going to send Jen a message right after this. So thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
See ya. All right. 2 down. Look at that. So there's the call-in show number. Yeah. That call-in show number won't work. I'll be ignoring that if I'm not on the live call. But you can call. I put up the other number. I'll make sure the phone number to the law firm and everything is in the YouTube videos as well. I know it's hard if you're on your phone sometimes watching this, and a lot of people are probably watching on their phone. But I have to be better prepared in the future to tell people where to go to get help. I should be able to make it easier than that. The easiest thing is usually just to go to the website and fill in. There's a chat bot on there, but that chat bot goes directly to real people. If you put your message in there, and they're monitoring those every morning they get into. There's like a bunch of them they're going through. So just to recap, so for the person that called in, she has her workers' comp was denied, and they told her to apply for CPP disability. I told her to get this book and my other book. Go grab it. So if you have to apply for CPP disability, you can do these 2 books. Oh, there we go. Do those 2 books. They're also available as a download, but it's easier with the paper book. So those 2 books can help. It can still be a bit overwhelming, but this one here will take you through like line by line through the application. So it does help you fill it out. Okay. Wow. I was afraid that we'd have no callers this week, and we've already had 2. So we got time probably for one more call if anyone else wanted to call in. Otherwise, I am going to call it a night. If there's no one else, we'll give it a second. I'll see if there's any more comments that I missed. Oh, yeah, there's some comments I missed here. Hold on. is the Canada Disability Benefit going to be clawed back by ODSP? We don't think so. We don't think so. It's certainly that is the intent of it. And then during the hearings when they were passing it, the insurance companies did presentations to the people in Parliament and told them, you don't have to include a clause that says that we can't deduct it because we're not going to deduct it anyway. So just, and they said, all right, fine, we're not going to include a clause. So the intent is it will not be deducted. Oh, sorry, you're saying ODSP, not the insurers. Right. The intent from the federal government is that ODSP will not deduct it. Now, I don't know what the Ontario government, if they're going to take the same view, but right now we won't know until everything goes through this summer. But my feeling is no, ODSP will not deduct it. That's the intent of the program, that this is a top up. Otherwise, there's no benefit to this. If ODSP just deducts it, this is of no benefit to people with disabilities. The only benefit it is to the Ontario government gets a rebate. So it's like, because of all this money shifting around, like sometimes people with disabilities are no better off. All right, so there's another. Okay, this was who was just on the line with us. How long will CPP pay you when you're on disability? CPP disability will pay you until age 65. So it takes you right up until age 65, and then it will automatically convert to a retirement pension. And if you don't have to do anything, it will automatically convert to a retirement pension. Now, I was still trying to find the slides. I wanted to show you the slides. Let me see if I can find them. I'm going to look one more time here. Here it is. Yes. Okay. So Sakadia, if you're still here, this is what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about. I did this presentation last week, and I talked about how CPP disability impacts your retirement pension. I'll just go over it again here. I'll just go over the examples. So in a nutshell, the short answer is it helps. Getting CPP disability helps your retirement pension from CPP. And the reason is that this was just an example I gave of 10 years of contributions where somebody went off on disability by year 5 here and was giving no contributions into the Canada Pension Plan. If you do nothing and don't apply for Canada Pension Disability, when they go to calculate your CPP retirement pension, they use a formula that goes for your average contributions over your eligible years. So if you don't apply for CPP disability, you're going to have 10 eligible years and you're going to have 200,000 in contributions. They're going to go 200,000 divided by 10 is 20,000. So they're going to say you get a CPP retirement pension based on a $20,000 a year average contribution. Okay. Now compare that to the second scenario. The second scenario is somebody who applies for CPP disability. In this scenario, when you apply for CPP disability, all of these years that you're on CPP disability are taken out of the equation. So instead of dividing by 10, they're now only dividing by 4. So you have the same number of contributions, 200,000, but the eligible years are now only 4. So your average contribution is 50,000 and your CPP retirement is based on this average contribution. Okay. That is why it's the reverse of what people think. It will not hurt your CPP retirement. It will actually enhance it. Now, this is just a simple example, but it's just to illustrate the point I'm trying to make. All right. Okay. Okay, yeah. So this person is saying they're going to be sending me for a TPI assessment. And for a TPI assessment and traumatic psychological injury assessment. So what that means is the TPI is permanent impairment. So I think that stands for total permanent impairment. Excuse me. With workers' comp, they pay you different things. One of the things workers' comp pays you is just loss of income money, but they also pay you for the fact that you've been left with a permanent impairment. it's meant just to compensate you for being injured and having a lower quality of life. It's called permanent impairment compensation. It's called different things in each province, but I assume that's what this stands for, total permanent impairment. When they do these total and permanent impairment assessments, they follow, actually, it's funny that I have it handy here. They follow this book. This is called the Guides to the Evaluation of Permanent Impairment. All of the workers' comps use some version of this book. This is the 6th edition, but most of them will use the most recent version. So what they do, when you go through that book, based on the amount of impairment you have and what parts of the body, they give you a percentage of your total body impairment. So like if you have a problem just with one finger, it might be like a 1% total body impairment. If it's your arm, it could be like 5% or 10%. It's an arbitrary thing based on that book. But once they come up with what your total body impairment is, they will come up with an impairment percentage, and then you will get paid out a lump sum payment based on the percentage and your pre-disability income and that kind of thing. So it's done to figure out what kind of a payment they're going to make to you for total impairment. Now, the psychological injury assessment, that's done because workers' comp will classify things differently between physical and psychological injuries. So that is probably why they're doing that assessment, to determine the extent of any psychological injury, because it is treated differently, I think, internally within their system. Very good questions. Very, very good questions. So with these assessments, you just should go and be as cooperative as possible. And when you get the results, so if those assessments come back and something seems off to you, like it doesn't sound like you can have it looked over to see, have they assessed this impairment correctly? You can, in other words, you can appeal the assessment of the impairment. It's not an easy thing to do. And it's difficult to get a lawyer, to pay your own lawyer to do that, because usually the amounts of money you get for these are not going to be large amounts. Like they're usually not going to be tens of thousands of dollars. It's usually like under $10,000, but it can be more. If you have a very high full body impairment, it can be more. And depending on how big your income was, it can be more. But the maximum it's usually going to be is like a year's worth of salary. And then it will scale down. So if you, for example, have a 10% full body impairment, it would be 10% of what your salary was up to a certain cap. So if you were making hundreds and hundreds of thousands, that you wouldn't get 10% of that. It would be 10% of your salary up to a cap. I forget what the cap is in Alberta, if that's where you're at right now. But I'm not even sure if you're in Alberta. But I forget what the cap is. But each province has a cap. But you can appeal it. You can also hire advocates who are free services to do appeal things like that as well. All right. I'm going to leave it there because my voice is starting to fail on me. I can tell that it's starting to get strained. So I'm going to shut this thing down for now. I appreciate everyone from showing up. I appreciate the callers. Makes this a lot easier. I was worried I might not get any callers. I did prepare a few things to go over just in case, but it makes it a much better show with people calling in. We'll be back with the call-in show next Thursday again. And now that we've figured out how to make it work, we should have no troubles next week. Tomorrow, don't forget to tune in if you want to learn about long-term disability and mediations. I'm going to be speaking with Lisette LeBlanc. It's going to be earlier in the day, but it is already scheduled on our YouTube channel. So if you want to go set a reminder, it'll let you know when we go live, but it should be tomorrow at, I believe it's 1 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, that's it for now, folks. I wish you all the best, and we'll see you back here next week. Or tomorrow, next week. Oh, boy. It's too late in the day. I'm out of here. See ya.